Hi, I'm Amy, and in this video, I'm going to be taking you through the 3 steps that will help you move from insecurity and second guessing to confidence and connection. And you may be wondering, well, why is that important? What does that have to do with anything? Well, confidence and connection are the byproducts of radical self-acceptance. And maybe think, okay, well, why is that important? Well, it's the radical self-acceptance that helps us let go of all of our stress and worry and burden. If you've ever gotten home at the end of the day and just felt completely wiped out, or you're going through your day and everything just feels so heavy and so stressful, there's a good chance that a lot of that stress is being created from you trying to fight your experience and fight against your environment. And if we can simply accept ourselves and our own limitations and our own responsibilities and let go of all of the rest, we live much happier, healthier lives, and we feel much more connected with ourselves and our surroundings. So sort of the symptoms of us fighting ourselves are this second guessing and this insecurity and this stress, right? So where does that come from? Let's just start with where that feeling comes from. That feeling, and maybe it's in the pit of your stomach, maybe it's in your chest, maybe it's in your voice, maybe it's in your shoulders. We all kind of hold our stress in different places. So there's just this tightness and this clenching that happens, right? And what does that come from? What is that? It's our little friend, denial. Now, denial can be like really, really big, where you're like, have this huge, massive problem and you're living in total denial of it. Like, I don't know, maybe you're basically completely bankrupt and you're just like, can't even look at the problem. That's like an extreme version of what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that moment when the stress starts to creep in, or the anger comes up, or the pain comes up, or any feeling comes in to your body and you don't want to have the feeling, or you feel like it's wrong to feel that way, or it makes you a bad person to feel that way, or it's going to get you in trouble, or nobody's going to love you, or whatever the reason might be. You put the lid on the feeling. It wells up and it's like, nope. I don't want to feel it. I'm not going to feel it. It's going to stay right here or right there. That is you cutting yourself off from your own information. That feeling is a signal that's meant to help you make a better choice. Whether it's a positive feeling or a negative feeling or whatever the feeling might be, it's there to help you make the right choice for yourself. Okay? So the radical self-acceptance piece is so important because it helps us to have that feeling. If it's anger, okay, I'm just going to give myself 5 minutes to feel this anger and then let it go. To move through the feeling rather than clamping down around it and then holding it. That's where we get really stressed out and worn out. Okay? Because it's not sustainable to hold all of our feelings and clench down on everything. Right? So how do we break through that pattern of clamping down around our feelings? Well, the first step is to become aware of them. And we do that first using our body data. Now, body data consists of the bits and pieces of our experience. The information that comes in through our senses, temperature, light, sound, smell, taste. It is information that comes from our brains, different random thoughts that we're having. It comes from our emotional body. I'm sad, or I'm happy, or maybe something a little more complex than that, or maybe I'm feeling 2 feelings at once. Regardless of what it is, it's the information that you're bringing in at all times through all of your being. Okay? When we add time to this, so after I'm noticing my body data over a certain period of time, I can begin to identify the patterns in the data, also known as body knowledge. So there are certain things I know about myself because I've noticed them happening over and over and over again. A really oversimplified version of this is how many hours of sleep you like to get, or how many hours of sleep are healthy for you, right? Maybe one night you get 4 hours of sleep and you're exhausted the next day. And then the night after that, you get 8 hours of sleep and you feel awesome. So then you start getting 8 hours of sleep on a regular basis and it improves your whole life, right? So this is the process of becoming fully aware of who we are and what our experience is, okay? So once we're in awareness, we have to be in acceptance. We have to be able to accept what we're noticing, okay? And that requires internal authority, okay? Where we believe what we notice. And this is very, very, very important because there are a lot of external authorities in the world that are constantly telling us what we should eat, how we should dress, how we should talk. We're bombarded with messages about what's right and what's wrong and what's acceptable and what's not from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. So this internal authority idea is the understanding that nobody knows more about you than you do. In actuality, you are the highest authority when it comes to your experience. So if the doctor says to you, you need to get more calcium, so you should drink some milk, and then you drink the milk and you get sick, and then you drink the milk again and you get sick, and then you drink the milk again and you get sick, chances are you might be lactose intolerant and milk isn't actually a good source of calcium for you. But it takes you believing what you notice about your experience of milk to know what's true. Okay, so it's this acceptance piece. It's that moment when that feeling comes up or you notice something and you clamp down around it, that you can take a deep breath and just let yourself have the experience. Let yourself accept what's happening. Let yourself accept who you are and come into a place of compassion for yourself rather than beating up on yourself or criticizing yourself. Okay? So this is where we get into the change. Okay? Change is rooted in making a new choice. Making a choice. And that is body wisdom. The choices we make after we've noticed what's happening and we believe what we notice, we can make choices. Okay? Sometimes these patterns aren't helpful anymore. So what tends to happen is, we're born into this body and we have certain natural impulses. And then over time, those impulses are kind of squelched or squashed because of the family we're in, the school system that we're in, the religious system that we're in. And in order to fit in and survive and thrive in that system, we have to begin to turn off our information and sort of shut down those pieces of ourselves that don't fit into that family, that school, that religion, okay? So this process helps us get reconnected with and reacquainted with those pieces of ourselves that are actually very important. That now that we're out of the family, out of the school, out of the religion, potentially, now that we're adults and we're autonomous and we can make our own choices, we have to become intentional about those choices in order to live the life that we want. Okay? And this brings us to our final concept, which is a physicality of grace. And it's the physicality of grace that gives us the permission to have more of the good. Whether that's more, kind of sucking more of the good out of the present moment, or building practices for ourselves that create the good. So just to break this down a little bit, grace is simply the opposite of stress, okay? And physicality is the idea that while we like to organize our experience into nice little compartments, the body compartment, the mind compartment, the soul compartment, the spirit compartment, our experience isn't actually that organized. And I don't have a spiritual experience that isn't also physical. And I don't have a physical experience that isn't also emotional. It all happens all at once. It's all connected. And so the more I can recognize that connection and be aware and accepting of it, the deeper my life is, the more meaning my life has. Okay? So, it all starts with awareness, and then we move into acceptance, and that's how we create change. We notice our experience, we believe our experience, and then we make different choices. Preferably good choices. Okay? So this is the system, and it all kind of starts over again. This is the system that I use with my spiritual direction clients, and it works pretty well for everybody so far because it's a very practical kind of system. So I hope you've enjoyed, and have a good day. Thank you.